Oh, hello everyone. Today is October 1st. First day of spooky season. Let's go. I just got done watching Texas Chain Saw Massacre. The 1974 film, the original. Um, wow. Wow. Um, yeah, I just finished it. It's 7 o'clock. Started this around 5:30. Oh my gosh. This movie. I got the physical, the steelbook. Um, for like $15 at Walmart. Sick. This is the first time I watched this movie. This is a first time watch, and I went into it with completely different ideas of like what it would be, because I thought it would be a slasher only film, but it is so much more than that, and I love it. I it's kind of weird for me to say, hey, I really like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, but no, it's really good. And it, I after watching Halloween and Friday the 13th, this movie stands out. This movie is special. This movie is unique. It was made before them, 4 years before Halloween. And it's a simple movie, but still so complex. Um I really like how this movie puts the emphasis of the horror not on the gore and not on like the slasher, not on the slasher parts of this film, but rather the characters. The characters are emphasized as the horror elements, as the horror aspects. Now, Leatherface is terrifying. Not only through his mask, just his mannerisms of he is going to chase you with a chainsaw until he gets you, or just the cannibal family in general, where they are not afraid to make you uncomfortable and not afraid. They wear it on their sleeve, you know. Um, and this movie is terrifying because of them, because of their characters, because of how they are shown, because how they are portrayed. I think it's so wonderfully balanced and wonderfully played out, and it's so good. It's very good. Um, again, and I have never seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie before this one. Before this one. So I go into it thinking, oh, it's gonna be like those like just Bubba. I call him Bubba because I used to play Dead by Daylight, and I don't know if that's his name, but me and my friends used to call him Bubba. So I'll probably just call Leatherface Bubba for the rest of the whatever this is. But and so I went into thinking, oh, Bubba is a one-dimensional character that's just going to chase people around and kill them, a la Jason, a la Michael Myers. You can't say a la Freddy, but no. Um, I think what stands out to me is that most of this movie isn't the slasher. Most of this movie is not a slasher. Most of this movie is deep characterization of here's a group of friends that are on a road trip to go see Grandpa's cemetery, and then they stumble, they trespass. Um, this just in, Leatherface is exercising his stand your ground rights in Texas, because they walk into it. They walk into it blindly, you know. So it is their fault that all this happened to them. They shouldn't have been, murdered and massacred. But it is their fault. But it's most of the movie is not focused on those aspects of they're getting chased, the scary guy is coming after them. They aren't all of those tropes that are so attributed to Michael Myers is not attributed to this movie. Um, Leatherface is not. It doesn't really seem like he's a guy seeking out revenge. It's not like have this methodical plan of here's this group of people, I want to kill them. It seems like it's more there's this group of people and they came into my home and I'm going to kill them for that. And Well, that is up for debate because of um the knife hillbilly. Where he gets picked up as a hitchhiker and smears the blood on the van, and then that's a big debate of Franklin freaking out that, oh, they marked us, they're gonna try and get us. Which, like, to be fair, he's kind of right. But also, you're in rural Texas, like, you should be scared anyways. But I think this movie is remembered for the wrong reasons. I don't think this movie should be remembered for the gore and for the slasher and all that. Even though that the gore is very good, I think the effects are very good. Everything about that house is terrifying. Everything about the family is terrifying. Everything about Leatherface himself is horrifying. He's scary. I would say he's scarier than the other three. Even other four if you include Ghostface. I think out of the five, Leatherface, Bubba, whatever, is scariest. But it's through his characterization, through how he looks, his appearance, and everything. Because he's not afraid to chase you down with a chainsaw. Michael Myers and Jason are going to walk around very slowly to kill you. Ghostface will do whatever the fuck, and then Freddy will haunt your dreams. But that's what I'm skirting around what I'm trying to say, is that this movie is impressively well crafted to make you unnerved and horrified at the situation at hand. The first act of we're getting to meet these people, but we start off immediately horrified by the slow creeping scene of the corpse on just sitting there, and then you get news station of they're talking about, was it like the virus and police reports and everything. This movie is very good to get you unsettled from the get-go, and holds that. It holds it. There isn't really a point in this movie where you feel calm, you feel good until the end, but I'll get to that point. Because you get to the cemetery and everyone's kind of weird and you're like, what the fuck is happening? Then they pick up the hitchhiker and as soon as you see him, like, oh shit, something is about to happen. This isn't going to be good. You don't pick up a hitchhiker that looks like that. You don't do that. And so oh my god. It's I lost my train of thought. But this movie holds you so tightly, and just the horror grasps onto you, and you're unnerved and you're scared and you're like, what the fuck is happening? Which a lot of these slasher films do not do. I don't think do very well. Whereas this one, because it puts the slasher aspects on hold, that is just a part of it. This movie is not a slasher film. It is a horror film with slasher elements. And I think that best describes it. Because the family is what scares me. The characters are what scares me. The themes and how the plot is set up and the locations are set up. That is what is horrifying to me. You look anywhere in that house and it's unnerving. And it's scary to think about, and scary to look at, and scary to see. And this movie does so well at making the atmosphere and the ambiance and the characterization the scary part. And for being a 1974 film, the only real slasher before this was Psycho, maybe. It's impressive that they did this. It's Tobe Hooper. It's impressive that he pulled this off, and did this on his own, and I think that you get from the jump that the five characters are friends, and I like that a lot too. Is like you can tell immediately, somewhat from the dynamic, that they are friends, that two of them are couples, and then what's his name? Franklin in the wheelchair is like kind of left out. And you can tell that from the get-go. And then you can also tell how the family is just from the immediate gas station. You know, you see him rock up to that and you're immediately unnerved. You're like, okay, something's off, something's weird. Why are they trying to make them stay? Why does it have the sign was like scarily good or hauntingly good or something like that, barbecue. And so this movie eases you in but also doesn't ease you into the horror aspects. Like it grips you, it starts off hard, grips you tight, and holds you there for the entire film. And I think that is just, it's very impressive and it's very good. And I really like that. I really appreciate it about this film. And then I think the acting is great. Marilyn Burns, Sally's actor, does a really good job at making it feel real, making it, the horror, the terror feel real. Now, you could just say, oh, she's screaming for the last 20 minutes straight. But it's like, yeah, who wouldn't be? Her screams sound genuine. Her screams sound like actual fear. Her screams sound like it's coming from the bottom of her fucking heart rather than just acting. And I don't know what the set was like. I don't know if she was actually scared on set. I don't know if it was a Shelley Duvall Shining situation or if it was just like, she's that talented. But it's, her acting aids so much into why it's scary. And then just how the family is and the family dynamic and how they interact with each other and everything also just suits it very well. And it's very good. And the characters, man, I can't stop like not admiring, they're all fucking insane, but like admiring how they're shown and how they're portrayed, because each character is distinct and unique in their own horrifying way, and that's amazing that this film accomplishes that. And then each of the main five, you don't really spend potentially as much time with them as you should, but they're still also like shown in these unique ways, and I think that's great. And then more like technical aspects is that the editing for this film is something I really like. I really love, because it doesn't self-insert the shitty B-roll just because it can. No, it self-insert the B-roll of the cow slaughterhouses and the close-ups on her eye. First off, she's got beautiful eyes. But just the editing also just makes this movie so unnerving. And as someone who edits a lot, it's something that I admire and appreciate, because I think if the editing style was different, this movie would not have that impact. And I think that's a very good testament for this film being a 1974 film, because it has great, the editing techniques are good. It doesn't do anything fancy or special. It sticks to the roots and shows it. You edit in B-roll while people are talking to give it that more unnerving feeling. You have the close-up shots of her eyes flittering back and forth as she's horrified. You have the zoom-in close-up shots on the people, and that's great. And that's another thing about the shot, is that for the cinematography-wise, it's not afraid to let a scene fester and sit. It's not afraid to hold the camera on something, and it adds to that ambiance. It adds to that flair of, you're unnerved. We're going to show you this thing for a lot longer so that you stay unnerved. Like the scene with the tooth that falls on the floor. That's an easy, you could just point the camera down at it for a second and then have him pick it up. But no, you have it point down in a second, slow zoom in, and sits there, and you have to take in oh, a tooth just fell. And then he picks it up and then he shows it off. And that's just one example, but I think the longer shots in this film aid to it so much, and I think we lose a lot of that within newer slasher films, newer horror films, newer films in general. There's never like a new films don't go a long time without making an edit, and I think this film does very good at the edited parts are very well edited. It's very well put together. However, the longer shots let it fester and let it sit and let it just unsettle you even more. And so, while the story itself might be pretty bland, I think all of the elements of the editing, of the directing, of the cinematography, of the acting, all coalesce into this downright horrifying film. This, because I don't really get unnerved at slasher films. I don't really get unnerved at films very often. But I was sitting on the couch, bundled in a like blanket, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I admire that so much about this film. But I guess the gripe I have is that society grabbed onto the wrong parts of this film and left the other parts in the dust. Because like the characterization is so good, but people don't talk about the characterization. They talk about the gore and the slasher. And while yes, that's very good. That's very good for this film. But the gore is minimal, but it's still good. This movie is intensely scary and it's intensely horrifying. And yeah, the gore when it happens is scary and graphic. That's not what makes this movie scary, and I think that's something we don't, I guess, we don't bring about. And I think it gives people the wrong idea. What else? I feel like I have more to say about this film because of ending is also really cool, really insane. Is just Sally made it out driving away. She's lost her mind. She's lost it. She's screaming in agony, but also in triumph. And then Bubba is just swinging the chainsaw, just swinging it. And oh my god! And then it cuts. It cuts. You don't get a resolution. You don't get a like full triumph. No, her friends are dead. The hitchhiker got ran over by a fucking semi. And she's traumatized. She might not even live with how much blood she lost. And Bubba's still alive and is just swinging the chainsaw. And this movie starts on a high point of the news and then the corpse sitting there. And then it sticks with it, and then it ends on a high note. And I think this movie is amazing. Obviously it established a lot of tropes, like the creepy hillbillies in the middle of nowhere, and scary house with gross stuff inside of it. The house itself is its own character. And I think it established that. It established the final girl. It established the chase scene. I don't know if it established the chase scene, but it did very good chase scenes, I will admit. It established the friend group that dies off one by one. But it also has the, like, I guess, over-sexualization. It doesn't need to be Sally didn't need to be sexualized by having her, nipples poking through, or the other girl with, like, her back out. I don't even know. This movie still does that, which a lot of horror movies do that, because that's how they kind of get people in seats. It's like, hey, there's going to be tits on screen at some point. You don't know when, but we promise there will be. But so I think that the tropes that this movie made are very good, and ultimately aids to the success of the other slasher films. I think that's very good. Ooh, another part is that I really like the quick sense of calm that you get as soon as she makes it to the gas station. because you kind of get this like feeling of, oh, she made it. She made it to the gas station. She's fine. And then you realize, oh shit, it's that gas station. And then he's like, he's in a rush, but not. Like, he's trying to save her, like trying to calm her down, prop her up, be like, okay, sit here. We'll get you some help. And then he leaves, and then you get hit with the right realization of she is still in danger. And I think it helps with that fake out too. But yeah, this film is really good, and I don't think I want to watch it again because of how it made me feel and how unsettling it was. Um, but gosh, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed by this film, and I'm glad that I finally watched it for the first time. And yeah, I think I have a lot of thoughts. Um, and I'm afraid of just going around in circles talking a lot. Um, so I'm gonna let those thoughts sit for a little bit and um, calm down. But yeah, it's October 1st. Started this film at 5:30 while I was eating dinner. Do not eat dinner while you watch this film. That was a horrible idea. As soon as the first scene came on, I was eating a chicken sandwich. And I'm like, I don't want this anymore. I didn't finish my dinner. But yeah. I'm going to watch Ferris Bueller in 30 minutes. Nice little change of pace. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, you'll hear me talk about that again. Um, but yeah, thank you for listening. I hope you guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever is going on with you. But yeah, thank you. Bye.